Welcome back to the Talking Sports podcast, hosted by Peter DiBiasi and John Rocco Trumpbour, right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. Welcome back, guys. Main reason you guys clicked on this episode, obviously, it's the March Madness preview. March Madness officially starts on Thursday. Obviously, there's some play-in games with the 16 seeds and the 11 seeds, but the true March Madness starts on Thursday. So in tonight's episode, we will be breaking down everything you guys need to know. Some teams that teams people are sleeping on, some teams that we're really high on. We'll give you guys our Final Four predictions, and something that's really cool, we are also live on Twitter for the first time ever. So if you're watching on Twitter, that is awesome. Follow us on Twitter, all that fun stuff. I know I just took your job, Jared, but yeah, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I'm doing good, and I just want to say, if you're watching on Twitter and you're not following us right now, please give us the follow. Our social media is listed down below on all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Talking Sports PD. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, we really value that a lot. We're almost around 2,000, so please subscribe. And Pete, I think you have a special little promotion, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's tell the crowd.
So if you guys have been here with us over the last year or 2 years, we've had some partnerships that have worked out and some partnerships that kind of never got to fruition. Manscaped was awesome. That was like a 6-month partnership. We appreciate everyone that used our code for Manscaped, everyone that participated in Manscaped, all that fun stuff. But I think we kind of got a better one for you guys. Underdog Fantasy. And the reason why I think this is better for you guys and better for our listeners and anybody that can follow us on social media, and if you do follow us on social media, you'll hear more of it in the coming days, is because this is a fantasy website app. This is somewhere where you can place, can't use the word, you know what, but this is a fantasy app. So you can use any type of sport. It's kind of hard to explain. Any type of sport, you can place something that I like to use. It's called Pick'em. So I'm looking at Jalen Wilson. Jalen Wilson, Thursday, 2 p.m. against Howard, right? There's some things you can do. Over, under 20.5 points. You can put higher or you can put lower. You can do rebounds. He has 8 rebounds listed on Underdog Fantasy. Higher or lower. And then you can do something that's kind of cool. Points, rebounds, and assists combined for 30.5, higher or lower. Use code TSP when you make an account. You can either do it via website or an app. Underdog Fantasy, easy download, free to download. Your deposit will be matched up from $10. So $10, you can place $10, or you can place up to $100, and they will match your deposit automatically. You put $50 in, they'll give you $50 more. You have $100. You put $10 in, they'll give you $10 more. You have $20 to play with. This is something that I think everyone can really use. It's fun. There's college basketball. There's NHL, NBA, soccer, NFL. When NFL turns around, there's everything. And I think this is really cool for everyone. I use it. Just got Jara on board today. This is something that I think everyone should be using, and it's a great way of getting your sports knowledge on the platform.
Yeah, and it's also, March Madness makes it a lot more fun. Got a lot of games coming, so there's a lot of picks to be made. Perfect season for this to come around as well.
100%. Jared, I don't know if you've played with it yet.
But no, I have not yet.
Oh, I've used it. It's fun. Look, is it the easiest thing in the world? Obviously, be what's the right word? Be appropriate. Be respectful. Make sure you play with the money that you have, not the money that you don't have. All that fun stuff when we talk about this type of thing. But it's a fun, interactive way, and it's a little different than your typical gambling operation. It's a little interesting, and this is awesome. So Underdog Fantasy, everything will be in the description, but if you guys want to hit the promo code TSP, your deposit will be matched up to $100, minimum of 10, and yeah, it's a good way for you guys to get involved and make some money. So have fun and let us know what you guys think about it. So
yeah, it's a great opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. So with that being said, I know that was a little longer, so if you wanted to skip through that, if you already listened to the spiel, you know about it, good for you. So we're going to be breaking down each region. So we're going to do South region, Midwest region, East region, and we're going to do the West region. And we're going to give you a sleeper team and a team that we're high on. And then we'll give you guys our Final Four predictions, and then we're going to get out of here. So, Jay, I'm going to start with you. We're going to start with the South region.
All right.
So, give me a team that maybe not enough people are talking about, or maybe a lower seed that you think can make a little magic in March.
Yeah, so this is a team that I haven't heard. You're always on TikTok. You're seeing people. I got the sleeper this year. I haven't seen many people talk about this team as much. They're a low seed, but I like the matchup. It's the number 13 Furman Paladins in the South region. They're matched up against Virginia. And, Virginia hasn't proven to be – I mean, they won that one NCAA tournament, but they also lost the 1 seed. I view Virginia as more of a regular season tournament, just the play style they have. And this Furman team, Virginia is known for their defense, a great defensive team. This Furman team, they've scored around 80 points per game, I believe. They scored a ton of points, mostly from they're number 1 in the country in 2-point percentage. So like a field goal percentage minus the 3-pointer. They're number 1 in the country in that. So they're a really efficient scoring team. They're 8th in assists in the country, 8th in points per game, 18th in field goal percentage. So this team could score the ball. So I think this is a team that, playing in the right situation, if they could, get hot early against Virginia, kind of make Virginia start catching up, maybe lacking on defense a little bit for more offense. This team could pit with Virginia on their heels. And I think they have a chance to do that. I'm not high on Virginia this year. So I think this is a really good matchup for them. They also have 4 players averaging over 10 points per game. So that, like I said, they're 8th in assists. They share the ball. They don't rely on one scorer. But they have to rely on one scorer. They have Mike Bothwell, who's averaging 18 points per game. He's a senior guard. You got to love seniors in these tournaments because, it's their last year. They have the experience. They're not young. I would say they've been here before, but, he's on Furman, so probably hasn't. And then he is also joined by another senior. They got the senior duo, 6'7" forward Jalen Slauson. He's averaging 16 points per game and 7 rebounds and can also shoot the 3. Very versatile player. So I think these 2 seniors have a chance to just lead this Furman team and outscore Virginia and make their defense irrelevant in this game. I like Furman a lot as a sleeper. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they're a sleeper. It could happen. And I think this is a team that, could do some damage.
The thing with me with that matchup, I feel like it's more how I don't like Virginia than more than I actually like.
Yeah, I mean,
which takes into account the upsets, obviously.
Yeah.
It's 2-sided. I don't know. Look, I get it. They made the ACC championship, Virginia, but they're not like a legit scoring team.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good defensively. Yeah. And that's always been Virginia's motto. But I feel like in the past they've had Kyle Guy or Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter, like legit quote unquote
a guy
stars.
Who's a bucket for them when they need.
They don't really have that this year. They have what's his name? I forgot his first name. I think it's Jahad Garner. I think
Jalen Garner.
Yeah. He's a good scorer. I like him. So Virginia doesn't really move the needle for me. They're probably a popular upset pick, but I like Furman a lot. I think they're.
I think Furman's gonna make them have to score. I think their defense is good, Virginia, but I mean you're going against the 8th best offense in the country. I know it's a different talent gap, but I think they're gonna have to make Virginia score. So this is a good opportunity for an upset here.
Somebody that in my South region that I think could be a sleeper, and they're right in the mix with Virginia and Furman because they would play Virginia or Furman in the round of 32, and that's Charleston. Okay. 12 seed, they finished 31-3. They were ranked at some point this year, so they were. This is a legit team. This isn't a fraud team. This is a legit team that was ranked in the AP poll for multiple weeks. They beat Penn State by 2, and they beat Virginia Tech by 2. Those are their 2 notable wins. Virginia Tech's in the NIT, and Kent State is in March. Kent State is dancing. I think they're a 13 seed, Kent State.
Kent State, yeah.
So that's where Charleston wins, right? Or that's their thing. They opponent points per game, they only give up 67. They score 80 points per game. But they're going up against a team that only scores 72 points per game against San Diego State. They were 16-2 in conference, 0-1 against top 25. This is also a thing where San Diego State used to be that team you thought, ooh, upset, 10, 11, 12. Now they're in the 5 range. I don't know if San Diego State really belongs in the 5 range. And once again, like how I said about Virginia with Furman, this might be more. I think Charleston is very good. There's also might be more. I don't believe in San Diego State. So if I don't believe in San Diego State, and then I don't believe in UVA, there's a chance that Charleston could get Furman or UVA, and I like Charleston over both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the bracket kind of fell in their favor. If they play another 4 or 5 seed team, maybe like a UConn, or if like I would think, you know what, I kind of like UConn better than those teams. But it's the luck of the draw. They talk about March Madness. It's a game of matchups. If you match up well with the team, doesn't matter what seed you are. I think Charleston matches up well against San Diego State, and I think they're a very good team. They don't have a star, but they have 5 players scoring in double figures. That's a lot of points.
My thing with the Charleston, like you said, they got 4 players in double digits. The one weakness from them is they tend to still shoot the 3 a lot.
Mhm.
I've noticed, like on their stats, like they're not shooting well from 3, but they continue to shoot. They're shooting 34% from 3 as a team. So they can't just. They got to stay away. If it's going for them, great, but they can't force up 3s like they tend to do this season. They got to go to their bread and butter, which is basically getting them to shoot 50% from 2s. So yeah, they can't stray away and start trying to pull 3s, because if they're down, I don't see them coming back. They got to kind of get a lead early against this matchup.
Remember with 12 seeds, a 12 seed has defeated a 5 seed in 32 of the 37 NCAA tournaments. Last year, a pair of 2 number 12 seeds won. Richmond beat Iowa, and New Mexico State defeated UConn. So take that into account when you are making your bracket. So, JR, a team that you're high on in the South region, not a team that you think might not get to the Final Four, but a team that could Sweet 16, Elite 8 type of team in the South region.
Yeah, so I got NC State here. They're paired with, they're number 11.
Wow.
I kind of like the 11 to 6, kind of like the 12 to 5 a little bit. I don't know the stats behind the upsets, but when I'm looking at it, not an upset, but a high on. So NC State, they've got 2 really good players. Terquavion Smith, averaging 17.5 per game, 4 assists. He was gonna go in the NBA draft last year, and then he backed out to stay another year. He's a solid player. He's a little inefficient at times, but when he gets hot, he's really hard to stop. He's 6'4", guard, very lanky, can get to the rack. So I like him, and paired up with a Jarkeel Joyner, who's also averaging 17 a game, 6'1". He's a senior guard. You got to love seniors, like I've said. But, I think this backcourt can be dangerous for Creighton, especially. They could, if they get to the hoop, get Kalkbrenner in foul trouble. And then they also got this DJ Burns. Have you ever seen this guy? This guy's huge.
Yeah.
He's only 6'9", but he's
a man amongst boys.
Yeah. So that's going to be a tough matchup for Kalkbrenner. This guy seems to always get to his – I remember they played Butler.
Yeah.
This guy would always get to his left hand and just body are big. He's averaging 13 a game. He's going to be possibly a matchup nightmare for Kalkbrenner. Not so on the defensive side for him. He's more of just an offensive guy. And then also the NC State, they've beaten Duke. They've beaten UNC. I know that's when Duke and UNC weren't, at their greatest. But, yeah, I like NC State. I think they have the talent to perform in this tournament. So, yeah, that's why I'm a little high on them. I guess this is more of like a sleeper. I'm high on them because they're going against a 6 seed. But yeah, Creighton's a good team, so it's gonna be hard for them. But I think they have the chance to do it.
So this kind of segues into my team that I'm high on in the South region, and that's the Creighton Blue Jays. 21-12, semifinal loss in the Big East tournament. Oops, my bad, JR. Semifinals in the Big East tournament. Wins against UConn, wins against Xavier, Arkansas, and Providence. Some of their notable wins this year. This is a team that, in my opinion, has the best starting 5 in the Big East. I think their depth is what gets them in trouble. We have Kalkbrenner, who was the defensive player of the year. We're talking about Arthur Kaluma. We're talking about Ryan Nemhard. We're talking about Trey Alexander. We're talking about Baylor Shireman, the transfer for South Dakota State. Those 5 guys I would put up against anybody in the Big East. I don't know about anybody in the country, but anybody in the Big East, I would take those. Yes, I would take those guys over UConn. I think UConn's a better team because I think they got better depth.
Yeah.
But I like those 5 guys against anybody in the Big East. I think Creighton is so dangerous. I think their matchup against NC State, I think it favors them well. I think Kalkbrenner's a really good presence down low. I like them against NC State. And then you look at Baylor. I think Baylor's vulnerable this year. That 3 seed Baylor,
they're vulnerable.
Very vulnerable. They're very good in the guard position. They're very good defensively. I think Creighton could eat them alive. And then we go to the Sweet 16. They're either Missouri, Utah State, or Arizona. I like my chances. I really do. I think they can give Arizona a run for their freaking money. I think Creighton is an Elite 8 team. I think they could be. I'm high on Creighton because I think they match up well against NC State. I don't love Baylor. I love Arizona, but I think Creighton in the Sweet 16 could give them a run for their money. And you know when that happens in March Madness, you never know.
Even how they ended the season a little bit.
Well, I was at that semifinal game against Xavier. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now. I got a cold. So if you hear me sneezing or coughing or my voice loses it, you know why? You got to. That's why you got to pay us the big bucks, man. We powered through. I was at the Xavier game, and they looked lifeless. Like, this is a Creighton team that I think you've watched a lot of times. We're both Big East fans. This is our main league we watch, Butler, Providence. So we faced them twice, each of us. I think this is against Xavier. They didn't look the same. They didn't shoot the ball well. It was kind of like a lid on the hoop. It just didn't seem like they were. And credit to Xavier, they did a great job. I just feel like that wasn't the Creighton team we're going to see against NC State. And then I really like their matchup against Baylor. I think Creighton can get to the Sweet 16. When we get to the Sweet 16, maybe they get Arizona. If they don't, they're definitely an Elite 8 team. So I think Creighton has Final Four potential. I think they probably ceiling is Elite 8 and their floor is round of 32. So with that, I'm high on Creighton. I think they can make a little bit of a run this March.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying, and they definitely have the talent to do so. I know Big East teams don't have the best, resume in the tournament if you're not UConn or not even UConn lately, or Villanova. So I was a little hesitant, to pick that, and obviously it's a little higher on NC State. Yeah. But I definitely see what you're saying. They have the talent, and they do have I think Shireman can come up really clutch for them in this tournament.
Yeah. So that's our South region. We'll give you our Final Four pick at the end. We're not going to give you our championship prediction. We'll just do our Final Four prediction. JR, let's move to the East region. If that's cool with you. Mm-hmm. Go to the East region. Give me a team that people are sleeping on in the East region.
Yeah. So this is another team that I haven't heard really anyone talk about, and I've done my research, and I started to like this team, and that is Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, the number 13 seed in the East. Their matchup is against Tennessee, the number 4 Tennessee, and I'm not huge on Tennessee. Kind of like Virginia, they're a great team. I think they're missing their starting point guard now to injury. But Tennessee could lose some bad games. They could play up to the competition, but when you're playing against the 13 seed, not really playing up to the competition, and they could lose some bad games. So I see this as an opening for Louisiana. Louisiana's a great rebounding team. They let up the 14th least amount of opponent rebounds per game, 15th in the country in field goal percentage, 23rd in three-point percentage. And they have a guy named Jordan Brown on their team. He was a former top 20 recruit back in 2018. He's a junior now, 6'11". He's averaging 19 and 9, so basically 20 and 10. He could be a real problem for Tennessee. If they could get him the ball, and if he could just body down low. They also got another senior, Greg Williams, 13 points per game, shoots 40% from 3. And then another senior, 6'7", Terrence Lewis, 11 and 8. They've got some good players on this team. And I think rebounding is key to me when you're playing against big name teams like Tennessee, who usually have bigger bodies. Sometimes the smaller programs can't really match up with that. If you could out rebound and just control the pace of the game, and especially have a star like Jordan Brown will be for Louisiana, you have a good chance of upsetting. So I got a little high on this Louisiana Raging Cajuns team after, looking at the bracket, looking at teams, potential upsets. No one's talking about Louisiana, which I think in most sleeper picks, everyone talks about, this is a sleeper, and they have their predetermined sleepers. But then the actual sleeper is someone that no one's ever talked about team. So I got Louisiana Raging Cajuns, number 13, being a good sleeper in the Eastern region.
They're not my sleeper. I really like that sleeper.
Yeah.
And once again, it's like I don't love Tennessee. And I feel like this is a Tennessee issue every year. They get bounced early. If it's not the round of 64, it's the round of 32.
Especially this year, they've always been ranked so high, and they can't perform so high at points.
Tennessee's 23-10.
Yeah.
On the 4 line. And 23-10 is no record to be ashamed about.
They were the 1 seed at one point, and I don't know.
I'm not a Tennessee fan.
People have them higher in their minds than I think they actually should be.
The one good thing is I think for Tennessee, if you're on the Tennessee train, they're a very good defensive team. They're only giving up 58 points per game.
Yeah.
But Louisiana score is 78.
Yeah.
So I think Louisiana is very good. Look, I like that pick. I think Louisiana could definitely give Tennessee a run for their money. A team that when I said sleeper, this is probably out of my sleeping teams, or probably the least people are sleeping on, but they would face a 1 seed in the round of 32. So that kind of hinders their thing, and that is Memphis. Memphis is an 8 seed, and I don't think we're talking about Memphis enough because I think Memphis beats FAU. Oh, thank you for helping me with that.
I got you.
I think Memphis beats FAU, and then I think Memphis beats Purdue in the round of 32.
Ooh, really?
Ooh, I'm on the Memphis train. I'm also hot here. If you just saw me take my sweatshirt off, man, I was
getting hot in here, Pete.
I was also sweating. My house is hot right now. Memphis, I think FAU is a tough matchup. That's a brutal matchup for Memphis.
But you don't think Purdue is?
Oh, well, yeah. But we have to gate FAU, and then I think you get Purdue a run for their money. Memphis 2-3 versus top 25 teams, score basically 80 points per game. So they score. They beat Houston. They only lost to Alabama by 3. They're on the 1 line. They beat A&M. They're a 7 seed, and they beat Auburn, who's a 9 seed. Some pretty good wins right there for Memphis. 26-8. It says they turned defense into offense. One of the best fast break teams in the country. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They're more in the paint, a little old school style of thing. And I think we kind of got off the Memphis train when their whole recruiting thing kind of collapsed, when they got one of the best recruiting classes last handful of years, and it just never really panned out. They lost last year in the round of 32 to Gonzaga. No shame in that.
Monty Bates.
Yeah, Monty Bates, James Wiseman, Boogie Ellis, like those type of guys. Never really worked, never really translated to, Jalen Duren, never translated to a run in March. This is where I think we haven't talked about Memphis. They're not the hot commodity players, not the hot commodity recruits that we've known. I think Memphis can give Purdue, FAU, the win against FAU, but I think they can give Purdue a run for their money. I think Memphis is a team that people should be talking about.
No, I like it. I just don't trust them. Kind of like you said in the past, their history always been, so highly touted, and they don't do anything. But obviously that shouldn't be a factor in this.
No.
I agree. I think the FAU game, if they could get past that, maybe they have a chance against Purdue. It's going to be hard. It's a hard pick, but I see your point there.
So, Jared, give me a team in the East region that you're high on that you think maybe could make a Final Four run out of here.
Yeah, so this is a team I continually bet on, and sometimes doesn't. And during the season, sometimes doesn't really work.
But use Underdog Fantasy code TSP, and you can do some of that on Underdog Fantasy.
So this is a team that's been there a lot. It's got a lot of experience. And that's Michigan State, number 7. They're playing USC at the 10 seed. I think this USC was they easily handle business against USC. Michigan State's been tested throughout the whole season. They've played good competition. So it's not like jumping into this tournament and finally playing good games is going to affect them. They've challenged themselves throughout the whole year for this moment. They're 4th in 3-point percentage. They don't turn the ball over. And they got senior guard Tyson Walker, 14.5 points per game. comes up clutch for them time and time again. They got 6'9" Joey Hauser, also a senior, 14-7. And then one of my favorites, 6'3" junior guard, AJ Hogard, 12.5 points per game, 6 assists, though. He's kind of their facilitator. I like this team a lot. They've been so close, like with great teams early on in the season. Gonzaga, they just lost to. I'm forgetting some others, but they've tested themselves early on at a conference. They're a really good team. I think no one's really looking at them as, potential Final Four candidate or Elite Eight. But I think that's exactly, they're trying to go under the radar a little bit, not have pressure on them, and just play their basketball. They're ready for it. I think this is kind of a more experienced team than a lot of the other Michigan State teams sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of young recruits. So I think this is a great opportunity for them, and they could easily make a run, especially how the bracket unfolded.
I like Michigan State. I've always high on Michigan State. I love their first round matchup against USC.
I agree.
I don't think USC deserves to be on the 10 line.
Yeah.
I think they're 11 or last 4-in team, in my opinion. Just the matchup against Marquette in the round of 32 scares me if I'm betting on Michigan State to make a Sweet 16 run. Marquette Big East tournament champion.
I'm not saying they would win it, but they definitely have a shot.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That just hinders me in picking Michigan State as a team that I'm high on, that Marquette. And that kind of segues into mine is Marquette. They're a team that I'm super high on. Not to make the Final Four. You keep saving me right there.
I got you.
Marquette, 2 wins against UConn, a win against Baylor by 26. I think people forget about that. 2 wins against Creighton, 2 wins against Xavier, a win against and a win against Providence. Obviously, the Big East gets you ready for March.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you beat Baylor. You lose Purdue by 5. This Marquette team, 28-6. Their tempo is awesome. Tyler Kolek, love him or hate him. He's fun to watch, man.
Oh yeah.
I
hate him, but he's a good player.
I watched the semifinals in the Big East tournament. I was there. Marquette against UConn. Go back and watch that game. That game was epic. That was an awesome game to watch on TV or be at. Marquette is awesome to watch. Their Shaka Smart gives you energy. Everything runs through Tyler Kolek, and they have a lot of 3 or 4 other guys that kind of surround Tyler Kolek. Very good role players. Cam Jones is awesome, but everything runs through Tyler Kolek. The lefty, the White Iverson, James Harden kind of style of play. Like his jump shot is awesome. He gets to the hole really easily. He finishes awesome. Tyler Kolek, and you know what we say, guards win in March? Tyler Kolek is a guy that can win you multiple games in the NCAA tournament. I think, look, if Michigan State wins, then it's tougher. But if USC wins, then I think they cakewalk. Then we got Kansas State or Kentucky or Providence. I like the chances against Providence. I like the chances against Kentucky, and I like their chances against Kansas State. I think they're a lock to get to the Sweet 16. I think they're a lock to get to the Elite 8. I think Marquette's awesome. I think they do everything right, and I think they can tough out. They score, they defend. They're 7-2 against top 25 teams. Yeah, let's see what else. They say they do struggle against paint-dominant teams. I don't see a lot of them unless they get Kentucky in the Sweet 16 with Oscar Tshiebwe. But besides that, I think
who's that freshman big man they have that's super athletic?
Oh, Iguodala?
Yeah, something like that. I know, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a flat top. I know what you're talking about. I forgot his name.
Athlete.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, I think he can match up. Tshiebwe, obviously big dude.
Yes.
He could hold his own.
But yeah, I think Marquette's kind of run sets up pretty nicely if they get to the Sweet 16 because I think they could take on Kentucky, Kansas State, or Providence. I like them against any of those 3 teams, and that sets you up for an Elite 8 run, and you never know there. So I think Marquette is ceiling is the Elite 8.
They're super high right now, like you said.
Yeah. I think their ceiling's an Elite 8. I don't know if they're a Final Four team, but I like Marquette I like Marquette to get past the second week, to get to the second weekend in March. So Marquette's my team that I'm really high on in the East region.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. They got kind of like all their starters. They have no problem scoring the ball. And I think everyone's been their defense lacking, but they've stepped it up during the end of the Big East tournament. That's the right time they get hot. So I totally agree with you with that pick.
Jer, West region. Give me a sleeper team in the West region that not everyone is talking about.
Yeah, so my sleeper team, I'd say it's a sleeper. It's maybe on the border there, but it's the Arkansas Razorbacks. I mean, they're the 9 seed. I wouldn't say they're a deep sleeper. Well, yeah, they're not a deep sleeper. Or they're the 9 seed, correct? And then I believe Illinois is the 8 seed, or is it the other way around?
Other way around.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'll fix that for you. I got you, dude.
I'd be. But so Arkansas, the reason why I have them as a sleeper is because no one's really talking about them, about making a push. I haven't heard much about Arkansas. It's not like they're a top team, so I know they're the higher seed in this matchup. But I think Illinois. I think that's an easy win for them. I don't like Illinois at all. I don't think they really stand a chance. This Arkansas team, they're fast. They cause turnovers and stops. They're 32nd in steals in the country, 8th in blocks. They play at a high, fast tempo that can kind of disrupt teams, especially I think they'd be playing Kansas later on or something. I don't have the bracket in front of me.
Yep, they'll put Kansas in the round of 32.
Yeah, so they could disrupt teams like Kansas, and they got talent. They got 6'5" freshman Nick Smith, third best player in the country coming out of high school, 14 points per game. 6'6" junior Ricky Council, 15 points per game, and then 6'7" freshman Anthony Black, like 13 points per game. He was the 14th best player coming out of high school. They got a lot of talent. I think they got a bunch of other great recruits this year. So they play fast. It's kind of like a St. John's, making a reference to Big East just because so we watch a lot. But they will try to disrupt you offensively and change the pace that you're playing at and make it something you don't want to play at. So I think this team can do some damage as a sleeper. But the only problem with me for them is they lack in size. I think like their tallest guy who like gets significant minutes is around 6'8", 6'9", 6'7". So that's the only problem. But if they could speed you up and they force you maybe not to play your big man because he's in foul trouble, can't keep up with the pace. If they control the rhythm of the game, they could do some damage.
I like Arkansas. They had an up and down year. They're a sleeper team because they got that round of 32 matchup against KU if they beat Illinois. And I think KU's a Final Four team, a national championship type of team. So that's a sleeper. If they get past KU, then glory to God, they can do whatever the heck they want. But I think Arkansas is very good. I like Nick Smith a lot, Ricky Councils. They're super talented. They've had a very up and down year. It's whether if they put the talent together. And
I think these are the type of kids that when they're hot, they're hot. If they're cold, they're cold.
I think what Arkansas are we getting?
Yeah, exactly. And
so if you get the right Arkansas, watch out Illinois and definitely watch out Kansas. You better be alert for that one, but it depends. They could get beat early and they can give you a Sweet 16, a little Sweet 16 magic. So my West region team that I like, or a sleeper team, 10 seed Boise State, 24-9 out of the Mountain West. Thank you again. Out of the Mountain West Conference, they beat San Diego State, who's a 5 seed. They beat A&M by 15, who's a 7 seed. They beat Utah State, and they beat Nevada. Some of their notable wins. All 4 of those teams are dancing in March. 10 seed Boise State. I think they have a great 7 seed matchup. I'm a Providence Fire fan, and if PC was on the 10 line, I wanted them to match up against Northwestern in the 7 seed. I think Boo Booey's very good at Northwestern. I don't buy Northwestern as a deep team in March. I think they can win a game. I think they can beat Boise State. I like that 2 seed matchup. And who's that 2 seed again? That is UCLA. I like UCLA out of that region, out of that side of the bracket. But Boise State, 24-9, Mountain West Conference. This is a conference that is pretty good. The Mountain West got some good teams. We got Nevada. We got Utah State. We have San Diego State. This is an underrated BYU, usually good. They didn't make it this year. They have 5 starters that are each averaging double figures in scoring. The problem with the Broncos, they have no bench. A lot of these teams come to March, win with bench. They don't have bench. That's why they're a sleeper team, because I think they can beat Northwestern. When they get to UCLA in the round 32, I don't know. I really don't know. But they're definitely a team that can make a little damage. Solid offense, really good defense. They rely on their defensive ability, only giving up 64 points per game. They score 72. Northwestern doesn't score that well. Northwestern's a very good defensive team. This Northwestern versus Boise State matchup on, I believe, is it Thursday or Friday? Let's see. On Thursday is a game of two defenders. I think this is two defensive teams, and I think this is going to be a dogfight, old school college basketball. I like Boise State to get the win, and I think their defense could definitely cause UCLA some problems in the round of 32. Do they beat UCLA? I don't know, but I think Boise State can create some damage. That's why they're just my sleeper in the West.
No, yeah, that's a team again. No one's really talking about. But I like your take. And they got Northwestern. That's a team that could easily be beaten. And this is a great opportunity for Boise State. So that's like definitely a sleeper opportunity there. For my team that I'm high on in the West is the number 4 UConn, University of Connecticut. They're playing against Iona the first game. And this is a team I've watched a lot of this year. They're a very deep team. This is a team I think it's kind of built for a tournament run. They got streaky shooters like Jordan Hawkins, who's averaging 16 a game. Going to go probably lottery pick next year, 6'5", sophomore guard. Adama Sanogo, 17-7. When he's a truck, when he's hot and just getting these rebounds, it's hard to stop him if you don't have a big. It's going to be a tough task for Iona. And I think this is a very I feel like for Kansas and UCLA and Gonzaga paired up with UConn in this region, this is a tough region to get out of. And I think they could play with any team in this region. They're 7th in assists in the country, 6th in offensive rebounds. They beat Alabama by 16, beat Providence, Creighton, Marquette, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. This team could beat, I'd say, basically almost every team in the country when hot. Yeah. But they could also lose some bad games. So I think this UConn team they didn't perform last year. This team's much better than last year's. I think this team can make a run in the tournament. So yeah, I'm pretty high on them this year. And along with Kansas in the region and UCLA, I like Kansas a lot. I know you're high on Kansas, but they've played some bad games. And so I need to see more consistency from them, but I also just see them really playing well. But this is a great opportunity for UConn, in this region.
The Rick Pitino versus the Big East matchup is very intriguing here. I think I like Iona a lot in this matchup. I think Iona can give UConn a run for their money, but I do agree with you. This is not the UConn 5 seed we saw from last year that lost to New Mexico State. I think Iona can win the game 100%, but I think UConn is probably too good, and UConn's definitely due for a tourney win, but UConn has the talent to make a Final Four.
Andre Jackson, he's the kind of glue guy a team needs to, make a run.
Yeah, they have the talent to make a Final Four, 100%. Yeah. My team that I'm really high on in the West region, St. Mary's Gales, and what a matchup that would be if St. Mary's takes on UConn in the round of 32. I think that's the type of matchup that we would love to see. St. Mary's finished 26-7. They were led by West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year Logan Johnson. St. Mary's is a defensive team. I'm high on the defensive teams. I also think they're going up against 12 seed VCU. I don't like VCU. I got nothing. I know VCU won the A10. That was a 1-bid league. And the A10 is usually 1, maybe 2, possibly 3-bid league. More like the AAC. They're a 1-bid league this year. Obviously, Dayton didn't make it in. They pressure the ball, block shots, rebound, slow down the pace of the game. It's Johnson who leads the scoring, and then Aiden Mahaney, one of their best scorers on the team. But they need to make shots. They rely on their defense that creates offense. They beat Gonzaga once. They beat San Diego State. They beat Oral Roberts. They beat Vanderbilt. They blew out North Texas by 30. So those are some of the notable wins. I think St. Mary's is a tested team. They've beaten Gonzaga. I know they lost to Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference Championship. But I think this is a team that is very talented. They're very gritty. They can shoot the ball well. They defend. I think St. Mary's is a team you never want to see in March. I think they're a team that can definitely get to the Sweet 16. And I would be really excited to see a St. Mary's versus UConn matchup. on the round of 32 line for a chance to go to the Sweet 16, because I think any of those two teams can make an Elite Eight. Maybe not St. Mary's a Final Four run, but I think St. Mary's can make an Elite Eight run. So I would love to see a UConn versus St. Mary's matchup in the round of 32. I'm high on St. Mary's. I think they can get to the Sweet 16, and then they get to the Sweet 16 and they would face obviously the 1 seed Kansas. So I think their run would end in the Sweet 16. I don't see them go. I think they're ceiling Sweet 16, but I'm on the St. Mary's train. I think they could cause some damage and get to the second weekend.
My thing with St. Mary's, I feel like it's just like the type of team to win maybe one game. They've beaten Gonzaga before in like the regular season. So like it's a team they're very familiar with. So I think that's, their edge with Gonzaga. But St. Mary's is always like you said, just a good basketball program, solid. I just don't see them like you said it in this when they meet Kansas. I don't see them winning more than 2 games.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe winning 1, possibly 2 if they're playing really well. But yeah, I like your pick there.
So, Jared, we're going to round it out here with the Midwest region. And guys, make sure you guys use Underdog Fantasy, code TSB, for any fun little bets you guys want to place on when it comes to March Madness. You can do over/under for players. You can pair players against each other. You can do anything you want. You can do Kentucky versus Providence. You can do Bryce Hopkins more points than Oscar Tshiebwe. You can have fun with that. A lot of things you can do on Underdog Fantasy. Use code TSB. They'll match your deposit up to $100. JR, give it Midwest region.
So this is my biggest upset. I went really deep here for a sleeper. And this is the 15th seed Colgate Raiders. They're matched up against number 2 Texas, who just won the Big 12 championship. So this is, it's a deep sleeper. We always get a couple of those, though. We always
100%.
get 15 seed being a 2 seed. It's a popular upset pick, and that's when everyone's jaw drops, like what just happened. But Texas is a good team. I'm not gonna lie, they're a good team. But based off this Colgate team, they've had a really good season. They got 5 players that are scoring 10 points per game. 4 of them being seniors. It's veteran leadership you're looking for in a sleeper. They're 3rd in the country in assists. That's really important to me. Shows, yes, they don't rely on one guy to score the ball. They're all pretty evenly, but they pass the ball. You can't just stop one guy like a Max Abmas or Amos on Oral Roberts. Can't just stop him and, the whole team kind of collapses. So they pass the ball. They're 3rd in the country at it. 2nd in field goal percentage in the country. They're very efficient. 1st in 3-point percentage in the country. They only turn the ball over around 10 times a game. They don't foul. They're 2nd in opponents' free throws attempted per game for the opposition. So they don't foul. So they're not going to pitch you free buckets at the line. Some key players on the team. They got Keegan Records, 6'10 senior, 13 points per game, 6 rebounds. And they got a 6'5 senior guard, Tucker Richardson, 14 points per game, 6 assists. It's just a very well-rounded team with multiple avenues of, scoring the basketball, whether it's from 3 or it's from, in the paint. They're very efficient at both. So it's going to be a tough task. Not going to lie. Defensively, they're going to have some problems especially against Texas. But if this team's cooking and Texas is just not hitting their shots, very likely it could be an upset here. So it's a little, it's a 15 seed being a 2 seed. It's hard to predict. It's wild when you say it, but when it happens, it's kind of amazing. So I got Colgate Raiders here. Deep sleeper.
Man, you're going bold. I'm going just as bold. Kennesaw State, 14 seed in the Midwest region, going against a 3 seed Xavier. Kennesaw State has no really good wins. They've lost to Indiana by 14. They lost to San Diego State by 34, which is a lot of points. They lost to VCU by 3, and they beat Liberty twice. They won 16 out of their last 18 games entering tournament play. Obviously, they ran the table in their conference. Obviously, they wouldn't be here, but 16 wins out of their last 18 games heading into the tournament, and then ran the tournament conference. So they're hot. They're a very hot team. They're led by Terrell Burden, who's having a career year. They force turnovers, get to the line as well as anyone, but their free throws is what their kryptonite is. Why am I on these freaking defensive teams, man? I don't know, man. Like, they force a lot of turnovers.
Your defense wins championships, Pete.
Defense wins championships, man. They average 75 points a game. They give up 69, so they're not as good as defensively as like their stats say in points per game. I don't love Xavier. I think I like Creighton better. I like Marquette better. I like UConn better. I don't like Providence better, but I like those teams. Am I missing a Big East team? No, I'm not. I'm not missing a Big East team. I like Marquette, Creighton, and UConn better. I think Xavier in the Big East championship were kind of lifeless. And maybe that's just how good Marquette is. Look, I don't know if Kennesaw State wins this game. I really don't. I don't know if Colgate wins that game. And I know you don't know if Colgate wins that game. But this is a team, and there's going to be a 14 seed that wins a game. There might be a 15, not as likely. There's definitely a 13, and there's definitely a 12. So we're going to see upsets. We're going to see unpredictability. You gotta take your chance. I'm taking my chance on Kennesaw State.
Pete, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd never even heard of Kennesaw State before this.
Nice. In the past 5 tournaments, 3 seeds are 19-1 in this matchup, so that doesn't really bode well for my favor here. But never say never. Crazy things that happen.
My also thing, I kind of did a little research on Kennesaw. I know sounds like a hater, and there's backlashes, but the star player Terrell Burden.
Yeah, what about
he is 5'8". That was
ready. I was gonna get to that. They're one of the shortest teams in the D1.
Yeah, so that's going against the Jack Nungy.
You know what? They're doubted, man. They're doubted. Kennesaw State is doubted. Well,
now you can bring this clip out.
It's gonna be a game where Kennesaw State's gonna have to defend their what's off. Xavier's one of the best offensive teams in the country. If you're Kennesaw State, you have to defend. You have to force turnovers. Maybe they got a little magic here. I wanted to go a high team, and I went with Kennesaw State over Xavier because I'm not in love with Xavier as I am with some other 3 seeds.
I will say, if there's going to be a Big East team that I had Creighton possibly getting an upset with NC State, but Xavier I'm not confident in at all. So definitely Kennesaw State stands a chance, and Xavier's one of those teams that just might just get upset. And I agree with you on that one. Xavier's a little iffy for me.
So, Jared, give me your final high team that you're high on in the Midwest region.
Yeah, so for me, it is number 10, Penn State in the Midwest. They play Texas A&M at number 7, Texas A&M. This Penn State team got really hot later on the year. They were the 7th seed in the Big Ten, went to the championship. We're getting blown out by Purdue and, came back and only lost by 2. Had a chance to win it, I believe. This team shows fight. They're getting hot at the right time, which you love to see. They make the 6th most 3-pointers per game in the country, 13th in 3-point percentage, only 9 turnovers per game, and they got 5 seniors, which is big for me when you're looking at a team to make a run in the tourney. This team can shoot the lights out from 3. I've seen it. They killed Butler from 3, and they got this guy named Jalen Pickett, averaging 18, 7, and 7, 6'4" senior guard. This is the kind of guy you want leading your team. He's a do-it-all player, someone that you just love to watch. I could see him, being a star at this tournament. I could see it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. And then they also got a 6'6" Seth Lundy, 14.5 points per game, 6 rebounds. And then Andrew Funk, another senior, 12 points per game. This team, you got to love the shooting teams because when they get hot, you saw with obviously the Warriors. I mean, when shooting teams are hard to stop when they're hitting their shots, if they're not hitting their shots, yeah, they got a problem. But I think led by Jalen Pickett, he's the perfect in between because he likes getting to the hoop, likes back to the basketball. So he's a good, player to be surrounded by shooters, and he can shoot the ball himself. But he's a good leader for this team. They got hot at the right time. They're playing Texas A&M, who I was a little high on Texas A&M, and now I'm falling off the boat, and I went on the Penn State train. So, I like Penn State in this matchup and possibly in the future of this tourney.
Yeah, I think Penn State. I think A&M got a raw deal in their 7 seed line. I think they probably could have been a higher seed. And you know what? You get a raw deal. You're going to get a tough matchup in the 7-10.
Yeah, that's a
I
tough
like Penn
one.
State a lot. They're coming in hot. Jalen Pickett's very good. Excuse me. My 5 seed that I like, or not the 5 seed, I like the team that I think can make a run is the Miami Hurricanes out of the ACC. They've defeated Duke. They've defeated Virginia, NC State, Clemson, Pitt, Providence, and Rutgers this season. This is a team led by their guards. Isaiah Wong was great last year. He's back again this year. He leads their team 25-7 this year for Miami. Look, it's the 5-12 matchup that everyone's scared of. Everyone's always scared of picking a 5-12 team to maybe do a little magic, make a little run. Don't be. I think Miami beats Drake. I think Miami takes care of business against Indiana. I think Miami takes care of business against Houston. I got Miami in the Elite Eight. Lock it in. Hopefully I can come back and crop this and make a nice little video that they made the Elite Eight. If not, you'll never see this again.
See,
Miami,
the opposite there. I don't like Miami that much.
you don't like Miami, which is good, but I think the injury to Marcus Sasser is an issue if they get with Houston in the Sweet 16. I don't think Indiana's as good as people think they are. I love Miami. I think they take care of business against Drake. I think Kent State could beat Indiana.
I was just gonna say that. Yep.
So they might even get Indiana. I like Miami to get to the Sweet 16 and give Houston a run for their freaking money. Isaiah Wong, they're led by their guards. I said it earlier with Marquette. Teams win in March when they're led by their guards. Miami's led by their guards. They're exciting and fun to watch. Score about 80 points a game. Give it about 72. Yeah. They struggle with their size. I know that's a problem. They're one of the most consistent offensive teams in the country. I think Miami is loaded. And I think they match up well against Drake. Indiana, I think Indiana is a tad overrated. I like them to get to the Sweet 16. I don't want to see what happens when they get to the Sweet 16 if they take on Houston. If not, they take on Iowa or Auburn.
Yeah.
I'll come in for an Elite Eight run.
See, yeah, like I'm not high on Miami, but just the way they're placed in this region
helps.
Like, I'm not high on Indiana. I think Indiana has a possibility of getting upset.
Yes.
Miami could easily probably get into the Sweet 16 because they could play Drake, then Kent State, and then they're in. But I think it stops after that if they do get there. But yeah, I'm not huge on Miami, but I just think their placement is perfect for like what you're saying.
So, Jared, we're going to have to rush out of here a bit. We got to keep it under an hour, but appreciate everyone that is tuned in. We talked about the South region, East region, Midwest region, and the West region. Let us know in the comment section down below if you're an Apple Podcast or Spotify or YouTube who you got making to the Final Four and who do you guys got winning. JR, Final Four. Give me your 4 teams. No reason why. Just give me your 4 freaking teams that you're going to the Final Four, man, in Houston.
All right. Alabama, Marquette, Houston, and UConn.
So we got a 1, a 2. Who's your other team?
A 1 and then a 4.
You got Houston.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 1, 4.
Okay. I agree with you with Alabama. That's the only one I agree with you. Alabama 1.
Not even your Marquette?
No, I got Duke. I got Duke in the
Ooh.
Final Four as a 5 seed. I got Texas as the 2 seed, and I got Kansas as the 1 seed. That's my Final Four.
All right.
Let us know down below. And Jared,
right.
Yeah, none of us.
Yeah.
Let everyone know where they can find us on social media.
Yeah, guys. Talking Sports PD, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're actually going to be posting, me and Peter are going to be posting a bracket on Instagram and Twitter right before the tournament starts. So you can see who, our kind of final bracket.
Yeah.
Things might have switched from here till now. Doing a lot of research, everything last minute adjustments. But yeah, so you'll see our bracket at Talking Sports PD on our social medias. And yeah, Pete, tell them about Underdog Fantasy.
Underdog freaking Fantasy. Promo code TSP. They will match your deposit up to $100, from $10 to $100. Let me pull it up right now. Let me pull the app right now. Jalen Wilson. If you want to bet on Jalen Wilson, Jared, give me another player. Give me another team.
We're going to go Marcus Sasser.
We're going Marcus Sasser. Let's see. Okay, he's injured, Jared. You're killing me.
Trace Jackson Davis.
Jackson Davis. We should have had this planned. Oh my God, this is killing me. Davis. You know what? I got this. So we go to the Texas game, right? We'll talk about the Texas game. I don't know where I'm going here. It doesn't matter. Okay. Bryce Hopkins, Providence Friars. Well, this just did not go the way I wanted it to go. Too early in the week for this. Okay. We'll talk about, let's see. Oh, my God, yeah. Too early in the week. But I'll go back to the Jalen Wilson thing. Wow, this did not go the way I wanted it to go. My God. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TSP. We'll go back to the Jalen Wilson thing. You can bet on over points, over rebounds. You can combine everything. You can match them up against someone else. It doesn't even have to be in the same game. You can do a pick 'em. It's awesome. I did it during the NFL season. You can put two players together. I think Patrick Mahomes will have more passing yards than Joe Burrow, for example.
If you know your sports, I mean, it's an easy way, to win.
Yes, and then this is you can do anybody. DeJuan Harris for Kansas. The reason these games aren't showing up because we're so early in the week. They're only doing the first two games on Thursday.
Yeah.
DeJuan Harris, point guard for Kansas. Over 2.5 rebounds. You can bet on total points, rebounds, and assists combined. Total points and assists, higher or lower. That's a way to do it. And you can also do something, that's the higher or lower. And then you can do something called rivals, where you can match up the players. It's an awesome way to do it. Not a lot of money involved. Code TSP will match your
$10 to enter and double your money.
Yeah, you put $10 in, they'll match your deposit up to $10. I mean, up to $100, but all you gotta do is $10.
Keeps things interesting on the couch during March,
It does, and you win. You can keep going, and then you can do it from anywhere. Promo code TSP. Appreciate everyone that is tuning in to our March Madness preview. Appreciate that everyone dealt with me being sick, my nose, all that fun stuff, and whatever just happened there when I was trying to find players. Thank you, Underdog. No worries. But that's going to do it for the Talking Sports podcast right here on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, and Twitter for tonight. Follow us on all social medias for March Madness preview, all that stuff. Baseball season coming up. We'll give you guys all of that. Until next time, thank you.